Okay, so this is another exam prep video for Year 10, and this is using a resource about 5 effective habits for learning in general. One of the things that is really important is that you see exams as a learning experience. They're not the be all and end all of your life, but they are an important chance for you to work on how good you are as a learner. So, we're going to talk about 5 different ways to develop your learning. So, the first one is when you try to retrieve information. So, like a golden retriever, you throw out that ball to try and find a fact, and then you try and bring it back as easy as possible. When you read things, you feel like you know it because you're reading it and you're like, yeah, I totally remember this. This is fantastic. One of the problems is your brain doesn't retain it. So, when you're trying to do that, you're not actually getting a really good understanding of information that is going to stick. So, one of the things you need to do is to actually think about what your exam is going to be and actually order that out. You know, your teachers will give you materials to tell you what is in the exam. Then you have to actually create a quiz using your information. So that might be flashcards, it might be short answer questions, it might be you write half a sentence, you have to fill in the other half, might be that you write down 20 things that you remember from your topic. Whatever it is, you have to actually physically take the answers away and see if you can answer them. To actually do it without having the resources there. Secondly, is questioning and elaboration. Once you've kind of mastered a whole bunch of stuff, then you should actually work to develop your understanding by linking things. So, what you might want to think about is, what are the key questions my teacher would ask me about this topic? So, it might be something like, I need to do the causes of World War II. I need to think about the rise of Hitler. What are 10 things that led to the rise of Hitler? Okay, what's my teacher going to ask me about each of those? So, actually, questioning and writing out answers is a really useful way because once you understand a topic, it helps you to remember it. So, concrete examples, another one that's really cool. If you're thinking about all the stuff you're going to try and remember in your exam, it's a lot. So you've got to try and think about the big picture. So if you're doing ecosystems, you've got to think about what does an ecosystem mean? What's its definition? What are all the parts? How does it interrelate, etc. But you also have to think about the bigger concept. So when you're trying to break this down, try and think about having key discernible aspects that help you to think about the topic. So again, if we go back to rise of Hitler, I know there's 10 key things I can talk about. I know that in an essay I can probably structure them as political, social, and economic. Then I can structure them domestic and international. I can structure them by things Hitler was directly involved in or things that were outside of his control. So those are ways of having big pictures, but then I need to actually have specifics that work to relate to that. When you look at examples, it's a really good way to actually learn about this big picture idea. So you can look at how are other people structuring their thinking. You might want to go back and look at your old work. How did you actually bring your evidence in to make it work? Next thing is just a reminder that we all procrastinate. I procrastinate my uni homework all the time. It's really bad because then I get in trouble. But it's the human brain doesn't want to actually work. It wants to relax. It wants to be chilled out. So you are trying to force it to do something that it does not want to do. Putting it off is going to make it worse. So just give yourself little bits of work. If you try and prepare like this, be super chilled out and then do it all on Sunday, your brain is going to not cope very well. Because cramming is the least effective way of learning stuff and makes you very stressed. And sometimes stress can be good. A certain level of stress is useful, but it's not going to help in the long run. And particularly if you're tired because you've stayed up all night, you're not going to perform very well. The best thing to do is to space it out. So to do a little bit of practice, because every time you put those